Pete the Blogger Guy here. It is October 11th. Time for one of our readings. And I know normally at this time I would add something to the little diorama. I've decided that to be able to make it, I need to stop adding stuff every night. I think I'm going to start adding something every other night. That way, because if we keep going at this rate, it's going to be very clustered by Halloween. I don't want it to be really clustered. I just wanted to add stuff. So we're not going to add anything tonight. But we're going to move on to our reading. And my shoulder's been bothering me. So I'm not going to hold the book up there like I normally do because of my shoulder. But tonight's story is called Franklin's Halloween. So there's the book for tonight. So let's go ahead and get started. Franklin could hardly count by twos. On his toes and toes, his shoe. Really? Let's start all over. Franklin couldn't count by twos and tie his shoes. There we go. He knows the day of the week and month and of the year. And the holidays, even every season. Today was October 31st. It was Halloween. Franklin could hardly wait for tonight's costume party. Everyone would be there. Franklin and his friends had talked about the party for weeks. There would be games, prizes, and even a parade. Best of all, there would be a haunted house. I think there'll be bats and spiders, said Franklin. And skeletons, added Beaver. Rabbit shivered. My sister says she saw a real ghost in there last year. That's silly, Rabbit, said Beaver. There are no real ghosts. All of Franklin's friends were excited because of their costume contest. Franklin wasn't sure what he was going to wear. He had tried on everything in his dress-up trunk, but nothing seemed quite right. Beaver and Goose were keeping their costume secret. Try to find us at the party, they giggled. Fox was also mysterious about what he was going to be. Look for something gruesome, he said, and gave Franklin an idea he would be something creepy. It took Franklin more than an hour to make his costume. As soon as he was done, he snuck up behind his father and tapped him on the shoulder. Trick or treat, said Franklin. Ah, gasped the father. Who are you? In his deepest, spookiest voice, Franklin answered, I'm Franklinstein. On his way to town, Franklin tried to guess who was inside each costume. At least I don't have to worry about finding Bear, Franklin said. He's always a ghost. By the time Franklin and his parents arrived, the party was started. Franklin spotted a ghost at the apple bobbing and hurried towards him. Hello, Bear, Franklin said. Whoa, answered the ghost. That's good, Bear, Franklin said. You sound really scary. Franklin bobbed for an apple. Then he ran towards the pumpkin toss. It was his favorite game because he always won a treat. Franklin's bag was almost full by the time the judges announced the costume contest. While everyone lined up for the parade, Franklin tried to find more of his friends. He thought he recognized Beaver and Goose. But where was Fox? They marched around the building twice. Franklin made horrible monster sounds and shuffled with a stiff, straight leg. He won a prize for being the best green monster. There was only one more thing to do. Go into the haunted house. You first, said Beaver, pushing Franklin towards the door. It creaked open. A skeleton rattled. Chains clanked. There were moans. Franklin stepped on something crunchy. Suddenly a big hairy hand reached out of the darkness. Franklin's heart beat hard and fast. But before he could scream, the lights were flickering on. Trick or treat, shouted Mr. Mole. Franklin looked around nervously. Then he laughed. The hairy hand was only Mr. Mole's mop. Here's a treat for braving the haunted house, said Mr. Mole. A ghost came before you. He got so scared he flew away. But Bear can't fly, said Franklin. It wasn't Bear, explained Mr. Mole. Bear is home sick with a nasty cold. Franklin shuddered. If Bear wasn't the ghost, then who was? He ran back to his friends, who were waiting in line at the haunted house. Was it that scary? Asked Fox. You look like you've seen a ghost. Maybe I did, Franklin said. He told them that Mr. Mole had said. You mean that Bear was never here? Asked Beaver. Franklin shook his head. The ghost flew over them with a swoop low and called, woo! Rabbit twitched. So what is white says, woo, and flies? A real ghost, answered Goose. Run! Franklin was about to follow when he saw a feather floating down. Stop, he shouted. I think I know who the ghost is. Franklin showed them the feather. Look, it must be Mr. Owl. Even Rabbit giggled when he realized the trick their teacher had played. By the end of the party, everyone's bags were full. Poor Bear, said Raccoon. No treats for him. Who could share our treats with Bear? Suggested Franklin. All his friends agreed. They each put some treats into a bag, and they walked to Bear's house and left the bag on the doorstep. Trick or treat, they called. On the way home, Franklin looked into his treat bag. Goodness, said his mother. You have enough there and last until next Halloween. Maybe, said Franklin, sampling a few, but secretly he was hoping the treats would last until the end of the week. And that was tonight's story. I hope you enjoyed, and until we see each other again, bye-bye.